Welcome in, everybody. If you're tuning in now or after the live, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Very quickly, Tanya, welcome in, love. Thank you for being in the audience tonight, and I appreciate you being in Tom's Army. For that is 5 months now with the XRP Meteor. I greatly appreciate that. I remember when you joined for the first month, my birthday sister. Sorry, my screen was fogged up, so I had to try to undo that a little bit. But I appreciate your continued support in Tom's Army. Rock and XRP, thank you for being in Tom's Army for the same amount of time with the XRP Meteor. Crypto Bob, good evening. Angela, welcome in, love, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over a year with the I Told You So badge. CZAM, good evening. Do you have two accounts, CZAM, by chance? Do you have two accounts? Or just the one? But anyhow, before we get into this, we can see we're a little red to start after the flip of the clock. We need to talk about two very real scenarios here. One, has Bitcoin double topped? And we'll look at where we closed at 48,000, or the double top we hit as of right now at 48,200. Or is Bitcoin going to continue out of this broadening wedge? I'll show what I've seemed to understand with the way this broadening wedge looks. There's a higher version you can go if you just take the upper wicks, but if you take it from the first two hits of the wedge on the resistance, it lines up pretty nicely right now with where we've hit for another resistance. So it's going to be interesting to take a deeper dive into XRP and actually look at the parallels there as channels formed in XRP within where we're at. So I thought it was pretty interesting where XRP got rejected earlier, and I'll show you why. UK Phil, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for the second month now here. I appreciate that with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Mo, thank you for being in Tom's Army for 5 months as well with the XRP Meteor. Good evening to you, my friend. Man, my throat. Need my water, but I'm trying to get through this real quick. Miss Vicky, welcome in, love, and thank you for continuing to be in Tom's Army. You have one of my favorite ones. That's the XRP Predictor. That's either month 5 or 6. I don't remember. I always confuse the Meteor and the Predictor one. But either way, a lengthy time in Tom's Army. John, welcome in. John Hall, good evening. I think I got everybody. So, yeah, so we've got a lot to discuss. So we'll talk about this possible short squeeze. Of course, it would go to that right away. But we'll talk about the short. I know this is a lot better to look at behind than what we just seen. But we really do need to see. Hold on one sec. I just talk a lot, and sometimes my voice cracks. But we'll talk a lot about it right now. And we'll get into XRP because the flip of the clock just happened. I thought it would be a good time to come on here on this Saturday. I'm going back to my going live every day. That added dedication because I think we're in a transformational moment here. And I think by paying attention in these bearish times, a lot of people aren't continuing on their path with XRP, or not just XRP, but with the ISO tokens as a whole. But for our community's sake, a lot of people are losing hope in XRP. So we'll go over the reasons why you should not be giving up your hope, and you should in fact be more, I don't know if I'd say more eager than ever, but I would be looking forward more than ever going into the next few years because of the clarity that's already come, but the clarity that's going to come in the next few months here when we get into the trial in the end of April or mid to late April. We'll know more. We know we have the extension right now that Ripple got for the documents they need to hand over for the institutional sales that took place between 2021 and 2023. That extension went from February 14th to February 20th of this month, and that was granted. So a lot of stuff to take into consideration. But I know a lot of people today are probably looking saying, well, how can XRP still be at 52.2 cents? We're going to go over all of this and more. So let me timestamp this. And just know I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for tuning in and giving me the time on this Saturday evening. So good evening, 7:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, February 10th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I just seen CZAM's comment that I was looking for. Darn it. But I just think everybody, please make sure to hit that like button so that we can help give YouTube a reason to recommend our channel and allow more people to find this live and allow more subs to find their way to this channel. So XRP, I think we should start here real quick. But we're in this rising channel from June of 2022. We were in this descending triangle, as we know, in the shorter term. If you're new, little descending triangle form. But this is what I found interesting. This is what I gathered now. Now that it dragged out, you can't just say it's just a bull flag. It extended out, so we could have still kept that on. But this is what it formed up to resistance. Now, what do we know about rising channels? Does anybody in the chat know what typically happens? What's a rising channel an indicator for? We know falling channels are bullish reversals. They're indicating when they get to the bottom typically. Rising channels indicate bearish, oops, somebody said crash, but bearish reversals. The fact that that is doing that right now, as we know, we found, yes, we have a bigger descending triangle from the top, but we found that the pattern actually gave way to a smaller descending triangle. To me, we're set up for what everybody would think is going to be a move, but everything's starting to look at within this channel. If you break out of a bullish, okay, so I seen somebody say bullish. It can be bullish if you break over the top and hold the breakout point. Typically, this is a sign that we're topping out and we're running out of steam, and eventually you're going to get a reversal at the top. Well, it just makes me a little nervous that we're at tier 1 resistance right now. Tier 1 resistance right now. And what that means, if you're new to my community, I break these down into different layers. This was the grand pattern we diagnosed in the very beginning when we first had it drop. So we had to give it credence here. Resistance, support, resistance, support, support. So we keep asking ourselves, kind of come back up here, and we put it out there that if it came up, it would have to come up somewhere in here, depending on where it hits. But right now, what we formed was another similar pattern in a smaller time frame. We're trying to build the pressure up. Coming up like this doesn't give me the greatest hope that this is what's going to build it all the way through. Not saying it can't, but you typically, you don't want to see that. So what ended up happening is we got a resistance, resistance, resistance here. It started out here great, but now it's confirmed that support, resistance, support, resistance. The only thing we have to do to confirm this smaller pattern, or to try to get a bigger bullish out and confirm the bigger pattern, is to get a rejection here to come down here to support, and the smaller pattern's confirmed. And then a breakout here we could confirm. And if we come down here to get that support, everybody thinks it's a bad thing. Think of it like this. We're clearing out these sections. Boom, got all the shorts. Clearing out this section, still the skeptics. Clearing out the shorts for the ones that might have felt like they were left out here to go short. Then you go short again. Or the ones who thought they got a good deal here, then you leverage out the longs. But it would maximize the potential from here. So my mind is saying, yes, XRP's overextended for a bigger move. Yes, there's a massive short squeeze that could be on the horizon and should be on the horizon. And my mind still tells me, Tom, you know a death cross has already happened, and we haven't had that big move down from a death cross that's technically loomed for this long. We haven't had any kind of move yet since the 50 crossed the 200. For anybody who's speculators, when I say the 20 into the 200, they say I go too far out. The 50s also crossed the 200 now in the daily. So it's got to be one way or the other. So if this is going to hold and we're going to break up, there's a lot of correlation when it comes to Bitcoin, only because just like when I talk about gold and silver for commodities, if you have a gold mining stock, the price of gold it's pertinent, it's paramount. Your pricing and your profits are based off the ounce of gold. So if you're mining something and the ounce of gold only costs $1,600, and now when you're going to sell that stuff you mine to consumers, and it's up to $1,800, you're doing great. But if you mined it at 16 and now it's down to 12, or you mined it at 2,100 and it's down to 1,500, you're in trouble. So, you know, there's a lot of weight to that, just like in crypto. If Bitcoin's not going up, the problem is some of the liquidity and collateral doesn't come into the market. It's not necessarily that people don't like XRP or they don't like the other altcoins, but when the big boy's down, the retail trader says, you know what? If Bitcoin can't get my money, and it's the biggest market share with over 53% of the market in just this one token, despite the fact there's probably 90,000 tokens, there's got to be a reason why. So then people will be turned off. But at the same token, if Bitcoin were to continue pumping, which right now, if I always look at how do you break the consumers back, and I want to ask everybody an honest, legitimate, straight to the point, forward, and an honest answer or question. And please make sure to hit that like button. We already have 67 people in here. Holy crap. And 39 people have hit that like button. Hit the like button so that when everybody gets in here, they look and they're like, oh, only 50% hit the like button. I'm out of here. Obviously, if he was worth my time, everybody would hit the like button. Let's give people a reason to stay. And when they get here, show them the power of love and positivity. We show them the power of positivity so they stay, they ask questions, and they become an integral part of the community. Remember, I need you here as much as you need me. There's no honest answer I can give you more simple than that. Back to square one where I got it in the 40s. Adam says, past shows small uprise, which is what we in. Then little consolidation to March 17th. So, with this is, so I have the other way that we can do this as well with the expanded broadening wedge that I was showing until we had to put it to the lower one. I'll show you what I mean. Because right now, if you went to the expanded like this with the wicks, and that would be discounting the very first hit it made. And what I showed you on the other one's the very first hit it made. And that's how we got to the point we're at. So you know the next layer if we were to break up. But I'm trying not to confuse everybody right now. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it on each of us right now. We're not even going to act like that's a possibility yet. We will once it breaks out and confirms. But right now we have to say, is this a double top forming here in the short pattern, or is something bigger happening? Something bigger did start happening since I came on. Okay, so one of the ways I like to determine this is when you get into these scenarios, on a consolidation candle here, do we hold the support line? Are we going to hold the breakout point? It just so happens that we're right at that point right now. It just so happens. Now, the one thing I will say that I'm a little disappointed because I'm not opposed to another run out. Believe me, we've been waiting a long time. I am not opposed to get a move out. I'm invested heavily, as you guys know, well, considered to my own standard heavily. I'm in 11 or 12 different tokens between the ISO and IoT, and everybody in my audience who's been watching bought in when I did. XRP, for example, we got in this time around, we're at 34.5 cents. So we're looking at it from a standpoint of we've been waiting a long time and we deserve this, but what's really going on here behind the scenes? So if I'm looking at this and I'm saying, what is my biggest way to cause pain to the consumer and allow me to still make this run happen but get all the liquidity possible for the big boys? Right now is that key moment. This is the inflection point, why I came on. Does this continue out? And dropping the hammer doesn't mean that Bitcoin has to go way down. Dropping the hammer could be a scenario, and it's simple. If dropping the hammer scenario could even happen with Bitcoin with just a small pullback, and this is paramount, and then we're getting back into XRP because I don't give a rat's ass normally about Bitcoin. I don't mind talking about it. I understand it's the big boy, but I'm trying to dissect XRP at a finite level, as most of you know. 46,300. What happened to the 46,300? 46,300. I don't know where that went, but we'll go back and show where that came from. That's the cup back here. So 46,300. You can see where my X is now over here. Here, let me get my arrow out. Was back here. So that's the cup. So to me, you come up to resistance, you give a little fake out here, give it a little bit of a spin. Now come back down here. Now most people will think that's it. It's over. This is it. You know what? The heck with that, the run's over. We can see the clear double top. They're not understanding, and what I'm seeing here is you got to put the handle in now. Would this be enough for a bullish handle for everybody? If it, forget the wick. If it came down here and it built something like this, would this be a big enough, something like that? Would it be big enough? Is that a big enough handle? That's all we're trying to figure out here. is Bitcoin about to put a handle here? And if it puts the bullish handle on the cup, is that a retest of the cup itself, or does it have to come down? And I would love your input for everybody who's here. And then we're going back to XRP because we really have to go to XRP. I know we're talking Bitcoin. It gets exciting sometimes. And the other exciting point is 47,000 was another big area that we knew, because that was just a big pivot level here. But that 46,300 is where we could get the retracement. We will know if we hold 47,000. We knew these layers coming up. The only thing we don't know now with the uncertainty is, can the relative strength of Bitcoin hold at these layers? Right now, it's putting in a topping pattern. And we've shown comparisons. We've shown a lot of things. But the handle right now, yeah, it is too small, right? It's got to be bigger. So the other, if you think it's too small at 46,300, because this right now, that's not a handle. Unless you're referring to right now, it's too small. I agree with you. If you're saying what I'm doing is too small, that I would definitely, hopefully agree with you. And then I ask you the other question, if that's what you think, because I want to know honestly. So remember the old bull flag pattern Bitcoin was in before we diagnosed the broadening wedge? And it was hard to, because we had to wait for a sneaky wick to come out, and then we were able to find the bottom back down to 38,000 because it gave us that hint. But what if it did something, ready? What if it does 46,333, and this will help us know the area for XRP. That's why this is important. Would this be more pertinent? A retest of the broken bull flags, the formation that was there, that you can still keep those resistance support lines there. And would that be how it would break out? And then if you look within it with the actual formation it's in the broadening wedge, that would bring you down to something like the mid-tier like that. Somewhere in that range. Maybe not even 44, but, you can see where I'm talking about. Would that be suffice for this? I'm more inclined to say that we get something like I just drew over the hold at 46,300. As much as there's a lot of longs here, I guarantee you some of the sneaky shorts are going to start to come in play right now. There's a reason why, for anybody, and if you're interested, just go back into my earlier update today if you want to hear more. But there's a reason why an XRP whale moved millions of tokens to Binance, and it was about 25 million tokens were moved back. That's not by coincidence. There could be a retracement happening, or there could be a bigger play and they could be transferring it into another area. We don't know. And now that we closed at 7 o'clock and we officially know from 29 minutes ago with Bitcoin, unfortunately, you had a lower high now. That's the first time that we didn't have a higher high in this run up in the entirety of the run up when it was bullish, unless we had a consolidation. This is the first time. So thank you all for sitting through Bitcoin. I know it's not sexy sometimes, but we really do need to figure out sometimes how we get to where we're at. So I do appreciate you for tuning in and, taking a moment on your Saturday to understand, maybe at a little more detailed level what's going on, not just from what I'm saying, but look how lit up chat is right now. Chat's doing a fantastic job, and it's not just one entity in chat. And it's not just the men in the chat. It's made up of some fantastic men and women in here. And we should be very proud, because when most people are running out, when most people are giving up, when most people are saying, I've had enough with XRP, it's quite the opposite. This is the time of enlightenment right now. If you can get it right now, going forward, I've said it for so long that I feel like people are like, oh, this guy's just talking. You have a historic moment and a historic opportunity. We called for the historic crash in 2021 to get to this point. That was the whole point. So we could get into the accumulation phase in the proper area. It was fantastic to buy with my whole 1,500 audience base in 21, because I started in March of 21. As we made that run up, because my first video somehow got 13,000 views. It's still my most viewed video. Well, it's over time of 3 years now. But we had to go through that moment so that we could see how quickly it could go up and be taken away. But we also had to see, for the ones who missed out in that moment, you could see how quickly it went from nothing to a unbelievable missed opportunity. And right now we just have to ask ourselves, is XRP positioned to make the move, or is it in our best interest to come back and hold? So the relative strength index, the only reason to use the indicator, in my opinion, besides some of the ones in my audience that like it, because I don't generally use it, and I didn't use it for years on here, but I added it for the ones I respect, which is my audience, so I have to do it. Especially if I see value in it, to see where the technical trader is going to be. Wouldn't you expect after a volatile swing in the daily, especially with the way it kind of labored out in that rising channel, that it wouldn't be so bad to come meet that trend line before the further push? So what I mean is maybe that trend line, maybe the trend line's coming through. And would it be so bad just to meet the trend line and then come around? I don't necessarily think so. I think that it's trying to embrace the fact that we have a little bit of momentum, and now we're going to see if the seller's demand meet the buyer's remorse. So basically that's, can we meet the sellers at a fast enough pace to continue the price going up? For Bitcoin, we're getting into a spot where the technical trader is going to say, you know what? I rely on the RSI to make a trade, and it's telling me that this is no man's land. Whales. I want to read what that said. So it's very important, this moment right now at the beginning of it. It's very important. The fact that we didn't pump out when we hit that, when we broke out, was a very telling sign. Like I said, I am more than embracing a move up if it happens. Believe me, I would love to see Bitcoin go to 75,000 or 55,000 and let XRP pump to $1, $1.50, and let us get a little bit of relief rally here. But I have to be, realistic with myself as well when I see the charts in this moment. Now, I will tell you, major opportunity presents because XRP does seem to be building up a short squeeze here. A massive one at that. A massive one at that. We've been overwhelmingly underperforming the market. There's no doubt about that. For a very long time, XRP is seemingly undervaluing or underperforming the market since we can go back to the time frame of about, July last year when we got the victory, when retail sales were ruled that they weren't securities. We had a nice move up of about 100%. Since then, underwhelming at best. Underwhelming at best compared to the rest of the market. It seems like every single token besides XRP, and maybe XLM for that matter, have had their day in the court. Their day in the sun. But now with XRP, the beauty of all of this is, look how far, it's not to see the short squeeze too. That's a beautiful way to put it. But it's not just that XRP's been consolidating for now. Like I tried to point out yesterday for anybody who was here during the live, and now today I'm going to continue to emphasize this, and I said I would going forward, to show you just how bullish you should be on XRP's long-term prospects, and the fact that if you miss it at cents, we have nobody to blame but ourselves at this point. It's in the cents, in just a half a dollar area. So when we look at XRP, who did it? Delete it? Good. Now I can show everybody else how we did it. So right here. Wait a minute. What is this? This isn't even the right chart. No wonder it deleted it. What did they do to us, ladies and gentlemen? That's not even the right chart. It's the bit. It was the bit PHEMEX one. How could they do that to us? See, I remember everything I do, so. So XRP. Let's look at this realistically for everybody who's new. Let me pull this out into the monthly. That might be too hard to see. Yeah, that's going to make it look too hard to see. Okay, so this is the daily. And now, I'm going to show you from the weekly for 1 sec. This is the all-time pattern. So, how you get this, the resistance started on the push to all-time highs in 2017. Or January 2018. Just hear me out. The all-time uptrend is marked on all of my charts here, and you will see the uptrend, and I'll mention it a lot at the 2017 uptrend if we break the 2020 uptrend. I mention it all the time when I show my all-time patterns, and for anybody who's new, I'll just show you that chart just so you know when I reference this point. So you're like, I don't know what he's talking about. He hasn't even shown me. So this is the chart I reference. I've got the layers as it comes down. I have the inner workings, but then I always have a point for reference for us to see where it could fall from the 2020 or the 2020, 2017, Then we've got the 2013 uptrend, which is the all-time, and that you don't want to go back down there. So BitFinex, what I can show you on this one, I put this in just so everybody could see. This is the all-time pattern. And now, forget the all-time. We went to all-time highs in 2018 in January. Now we can understand that after going to the all-time highs in 2017, finally in 2020, March, we finally hit the first uptrend here after consolidation. After going to the all-time highs, now we hit our first support in the consolidation. After going to all-time highs, ladies and gentlemen, we did not find a floor until 14 cents. So basically, this is telling you from, and think about this, July of 2018, and I feel bad for some of these, God rest their conscience, that bought into XRP in January of 2018 at $3.50 area, and they watched it not hit the floor until March of 2020 at 14 cents. That means if you put $10,000 into XRP, you guessed it, you got a few bucks. If you put $1 million, you don't got much. You may not even, so you were feeling it bad. And when I talk 99% down, you were feeling it. Now, all of a sudden, people start buying it and it gets a relief rally, uptrend again in 2020. Resistance comes up here again on this chart. For a second time, we hit resistance. So now you got 2 hits of resistance, and it did it when? In 21, we all got together. Now, they didn't even get made half whole, basically. They were half whole, 55%. So that's why I don't consider that a bull market. I consider it a bear market rally at best. You cannot have a bull market unless you actually have a bull market. That means, and this isn't a bad thing, this means, and please make sure that like button. We're doing great, but I guarantee we could do a little bit better with the YouTube pushing us through to the new viewers. If we could just hit that like button. Only 68 likes and 97 viewers. I would greatly appreciate it. If you don't want to do that, if you'd like to show some support for my show, I would love to see more of you in Tom's Army. Help me pave the way so that I continue to do what I love to do. This has always been a vision of mine, and to continue to do it without any kind of paid promotions or advertising, that kind of stuff. I greatly appreciate your generosity, and that can only be done by your support. So that like button does help. You sending a YouTube super chat or joining Tom's Army to help me push this content and help me do what I love to do is incredibly important as well. So please just do your part as I do mine each and every day, as I've committed to you even on a Saturday and Sunday now. And I'm trying to do the best I can. I just need you to help me push my vision so that we continue to grow a strong and loving community. So we're going to continue to learn this, though. First resistance, down to finally March of 2020 for the first support. Second resistance. Then we came back down here. I guess we could say, no, I forgot about that. So I know it's hard to see, but resistance, support, come up here for second support, resistance, support. We've never hit the third time up here yet. That's why we've speculated that at some point, even if we're bearish, we're going to come up there. And that's why I think we'll have a massive short squeeze regardless of if we break out. But now we can also see how the uptrend started. So now it's converging. So you've had, what this means, let me just, in layman's terms, we've had a trend building. This is since all-time highs, we've had a 5-year consolidation. We are so far in a 5-year consolidation, and the max consolidation, assuming you never break this uptrending support, which we haven't, since it started in 2020 when it confirmed that this was in fact the new supporting uptrend after hitting all-time highs. Right now, we can't afford to lose if it were to come down. That first area is around 45 cents right now. Oh, no, it's not. That got pushed up. That is not true. I don't know why it's like that. It's 38 cents. I don't know why it's like that. Yeah, there we go. 38 cents. I must have hit it. I was going to say, when did it go to 45? What is going on? Did I in Bizarro World? 38 cents. So it's in our best interest not to lose 38 cents. If we lose that, then it opens up the door for the 2017 uptrend, which this isn't the chart that it's on, but it would open up the door for that drop to about 25 cents. That's how that can happen. So that's what I'm saying. We are in a pattern formation that we are definitely building up a short squeeze when it's ready. There's no doubt about it. This has been building up for 5 years. If you're new to XRP, or if you're figuring out why everybody's talking about XRP, or why there's so much buzz, well, there's no buzz right now, but why at times there's so much buzz or it can move so quickly, it's for the fact that this has been building pressure for 5 years. And with Bitcoin, if you just tuned in, and I'm only going to do a 30-second thing just to update everybody, Bitcoin could have either double topped here in the daily, or it's going to build up more pressure. But typically what happens here, and you can never say what happened in the past is going to absolutely show you the future, but typically when you start topping here, if you look at the volume, it's going to be the key. Not impressive at all. Look at that. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not, and I know it's a thinly traded week, and they'll tell you with the stock markets, that doesn't imply in crypto. In fact, it should be a heavier traded week, and crypto never sleeps. So when all the other markets are out, more people can throw their cash into crypto if that's what they desire. So look at the move up. We had in the daily 7,900 Bitcoin, and then we'll go back to XRP because this is telling us whether or not we think we can legitimately break out and we feel good about it, or if we have to be real. And then after we get through this, I want to read through this as well about the short squeeze to kind of dig in a little bit deeper to what we've been talking about of what could be looming. That doesn't mean it's tomorrow. That doesn't mean it's this month. It just means it's looming. So right now we have 12,044 Bitcoin on the first daily on the start of the run up. Then we had 19,028, 21,803. See how it was going up? All of a sudden today we had 5,663. If you were in the production industry and you're saying our business is growing great, day after day, this is our production, then all of a sudden you get this, what would you say? Uh-oh. We need to find new customers. Now you go into distribution. Well, what does distribution do? Layer by layer, we try to find where they can afford to buy our product, and then we start pricing it from there. That's the point Bitcoin's at right now. Where is it the deal for everybody to come in now to help push us to 50,000? Do we have to go to 46.3, 47,000? If it doesn't push through now, wasn't enough. Is it underneath there at 45.5? Is it back down at the old bull flag before it created into a broadening wedge later on at 44? Hopefully that is a good way to break it down so that you can understand what I'm trying to interpret. So with that being in mind, XRP, is it ready to make this push up? Are we satisfied with the volume? You should always see an increase in volume day after day if you think that you have enough buyers in the area. So with XRP, not entirely impressive to start with, but it was starting to put up. We had JW, can I ask you a question? Was that not the best way that I described that I ever have in 3 years, almost? I don't know why it finally came out like that, but I wish I would have said it like that for years. I would have been able to teach people distribution that much easier. Told everybody I've taken a more passionate approach, and not just passionate, but I've dedicated more time. I know it seems like that might not, I've dedicated more time in my studies, in my approach, in my delivery, and not just that, in my understanding of what we're looking at. XRP, when we started breaking up here, and in the shorter time frame, there's no doubt about it, we've got a reversal coming at some point. And maybe I should put it in this so we can see the pattern a little bit easier, the tier setup. But if you look at the daily time frame in the same sense we did with Bitcoin, look at the move up. The first move here, we had 27.7 million XRP, so there's your base. You should be going up on the continued move. On the biggest move, we went from 27 million to 22. The next one, and we didn't make a new high here now. We made a lower high, I believe. Well, a lower close at least. But again, we ran out of steam here. And on this one, we went from 20 million to 10 million. Now, if I'm having a continuation and I get up to the 20-day and I run out of steam and at the pattern first tier resistance, that doesn't make me feel too good. So now, as a company, it's the same thing. All right, our sales start here. We move up. Okay, well, how exactly are we going to get to the next level if our buying of orders cut in half? So now we've made 30 million orders because we were getting 25, 27, then we went to 20. So now all of a sudden we got 10 million. Well, now when we go to make the next 30, who's going to be there? So how are we going to push out if the order book is lowering? We don't want a lowering order book on the way up. We want this to be increasing. That's the problem we're having right now, and that's why we continuously can't get out of certain areas. So if that's the case, where would XRP go if it doesn't go up to get that maximum squeeze? Well, if this area remains bearish and it couldn't get out of there from here, and let's just say this holds. For argument's sake, this death cross holds, and everybody's going to jump off the cliff now because Bitcoin's got to come back to, we don't know, 44K, 46.3, 45.5. Pick one. Tell me a new one. But there's all relevancies at pivot points or the fact of old patterns that it actually expanded out of. But with XRP, would that mean it comes back down to 494? Or actually 494 or 48? What would this be around here? 489? Or would it come back to the rising channel support? And let me just, and this isn't because I hate XRP. This isn't because I want us to never go up. I'm invested in XRP. I love XRP, and you could argue that I've done more with XRP than most would ever do in a lifetime in regards of trying to teach about it honestly and telling the truth. And I've dedicated more time than I can think of anybody else. You know, there's a lot of other people in the space, but for the unique style that I give, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody else. So would it be so crazy to think that XRP came down here and we just had this drop? Would it be so crazy that XRP did something? Okay, so what if XRP did something like this? Would it be so crazy to think that maybe this is what's going on? XRP came down, created a round, creates a round. I mean, is that so crazy to think that maybe we're coming into a big inverted head? I am not saying to close your trade. I'm not a financial advisor. And this could be pushing up in a way that we're talking about right now without having to expand. Because technically you could say, well, Tom, what you're looking for, you could say is boom and boom. That is true, but we're not getting the volume that I would like to get. And we're coming up in a rising fashion. Right now, if you go boom, boom, I don't know if this necessarily constitutes the inverted head and shoulders I want. It is on the table 100%. It is on the table. But if you take it on a farther scale, you know, it gets a little more interesting. The daily still got room. That's the thing. If it shoots up from here, it's going to make it even more interesting because how much steam are you going to have if we're already running out of steam when we get to this first tier? If it somehow manages to push itself out with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin does, we're running out of steam already. Where's that volume going to come from? We need volume. Volume dictates price. And right now the volume's dictating we might not have enough action to get out of here. It was a telling sign to me that most of the market barely moved. We had Solo that was up some 15, 17% earlier in the day, which is another one that we were buying together as a community on FOMO Fridays, if you remember. Is there anybody here who at late summer, early fall, were buying a Sologenic with us on FOMO Fridays and Winning Wednesdays? We only got up to about 5,000 tokens of that and Corium, but we got it, and our goal was to get 10,000, but it broke out before we could. We were buying it around 9 cents as a community. Corium today, or Solo today, had another nice move. And this is what I think we could build with XRP at some point. So we have a resistance over the top if you're looking at 19.3 for Solo if I can get there. So, but anyhow, that's all the time I'm spending there. So nobody was there. I was hoping somebody would be there in the summer that was, that's here right now. But, let's see. So, think about everything I've said so far about XRP. It's been 40 minutes. So, now that we've talked about all that, let's see how the market shakes out for a minute. And now let's read this. Let's read this together. So, huge XRP short squeeze on the horizon. The cryptocurrency market started a bull rally on February 7th, led by Bitcoin. However, XRP is lagging behind, maintaining relative volume of bearish short positions, creating short squeeze opportunities for the next week or so. A short squeeze happens when short sellers are liquidated, facing a sudden price surge during trend reversals. These liquidations force the repurchase of the shorted cryptocurrency, driving the price even higher, triggering further liquidations and potentially making it skyrocket. In this context, Finvold gathered data from CoinGlass about the crypto derivatives market. On February 9th in particular, we spotted short squeeze potential on XRP in the monthly time frame. Just one sec, I gotta grab my another water. And if you haven't done so, if you have not done so, please take a moment to hit that like button as I take a drink of water so we can help to continue to advance this community. I can't express how much that helps YouTube push us through the recommendations. And if you're like, man, I do appreciate all the work this guy does for me, consider giving me the greatest gift of all by joining Tom's Army and allowing me to continue my vision and produce this program. You being in Tom's Army helps me do what I need to do here, and that cannot be stated any more prominently than I am right now. Short squeeze alert for XRP next week. XRP has heavy liquidity accumulating at the $6 price level. More specifically, there are $8,800 or $8,680 in short liquidations at 601, making it an appealing target for market makers. That's not the actual price of XRP. That's liquidity zones. Additionally, XRP has many smaller liquidity pools all the way upwards before reaching these higher levels. For example, there is a relevant concentration of short positions between current prices and 56 cents. These will likely suffer a short squeeze, possibly triggering a larger movement. And this is some of the liquidation leverage. The leverage price is at 60.1 cents, and that's really nice because that's a targeted move zone. If it goes up, we always talk about 60 cents if we could break this descending triangle. Interestingly, XRP is trading at 52 cents by press time, up 1.73% in the last 24 hours. A short squeeze to the largest liquidity pool would result in over 15% gains for the token. In the meantime, traders have opened over 388 million in short positions since yesterday, accruing 51.19% of the total daily volume. Nevertheless, investors must consider the possible reasons behind the cryptocurrency lagging for a surge or having short sellers' interest. Moreover, the cryptocurrency landscape changes fast and daily, made of highly volatile assets. Thus, investors must trade cautiously, following the trends and adapting to each new development. So, that's interesting that we're expecting a short squeeze, but 51.19% of the positions open are short interest. So, that's why I always say, or at least I've always been saying tonight, I could see the move down first to give away that false glimpse. Like, think about it. Think about how many people, if Bitcoin did have a drop down, it doesn't even have to be 10%, but just let's take a look legitimately and say, okay, well, this broadening wedge has played true the whole time. The entire time, it's played true, and we can expand the broadening wedge and show it up to that 50K level again. But this is the first area, resistance, support, resistance 1. It got rejected here again. I suppose you could say, or resistance 3 now because that was 2. Then it came back down for support 2. Came back up for another resistance. If it plays true, yeah, you could say it comes to 36,000. But now that it did this, and came back through, boom, 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 you know, now it could be where it can actually take off from a middle point and create a big W. This is where I would say, if it does it properly, you could have a massive, well, we can do it from here where the actual cup is. You can make a massive handle here. And I guess to make it look more legitimate, you could do something like this and get out of here. And if it does, this could be a massive, massive, massive buildup here. Massive buildup. I'm thinking 20th. That could be explosive. XRP would become the GME of crypto. I expect the reversal to start the 13th. Like a reversal back down or a reversal like a... Oh, okay, a reversal probably back down. But I don't hate the 13. Fair enough. So anyhow, I think that's enough of Bitcoin. I've had just about enough of Bitcoin. XRP. So what do we think so far? Well, I mean, I've seen some comments. But do you think immediately, do you think XRP takes a downturn? Or do you think in the immediate short term, XRP takes an upturn? While we're together here on this Saturday, as we are approaching the 8 o'clock hour now, and we're getting closer to an hour together, do we think we can continue to climb like this? Or is this the first sign that, you know what, we're running out of steam maybe, potentially? Because it's continuing to run into this scenario where there's just not enough buyers to continue to pull up. But we truly know. No, Alessandro is right. We truly won't know until tomorrow. That's true. It's nice reading the comments. I love seeing what everybody has to say too. So, if we look at it from a bigger perspective, we're at some key resistance areas as well. We've hit it in the 3 hourly, the 200 day. The 4 hourly, we've got a little room to come up. We're teasing a move still. We are still teasing movement. A lot of volatility here. But we really are kind of left in that place where now we're going to have to wait and see. We're really going to have to wait and see here. Is this going to continue up this rising formation, and is that going to break? And will that give us the consolidation? Because I believe if this breaks down, it's already built the head formation. If it did take that route. And, you know, if it happens, don't give up. If it doesn't happen, it goes up. Well, let's have a party. But if this happens, if you see something like this or it rounds out and it comes up, don't give up. This isn't the end of this. In fact, if you see that kind of bullish pull down, it's just going to make you that much closer. One more step. The more pressure we can build, the better. And we've been building up since January 2018. We're going to get there. Eventually, XRP is going to get it right through the formation when it's meant to be. You think there's any mistake that this is lining up for a showdown in April? I don't. You think it's any coincidence that the adoptions are happening at the pace they are and at the exact timing they are? I don't. Do you think it's any coincidence that the ETF was announced this close to when the resolution, supposedly one way or the other, is getting there for XRP finally? I don't think any of this is a coincidence. I think it's one big delay tactic and stall tactic, and then another bit tactic to keep people out of the next transition in finances. I really do. I believe this is how they keep people out. That FUD and the, oh, you don't want to buy this. There's no yada yada, you know? This will be interesting. So let's read the community, what the community says. As we like to go through some news towards the end, you can expect later on tonight that I'll have a little more news that I'm going to talk about that I'm not going to talk about right now. I've got about another 3 to 5 minute thing that I like to release. I'm going to start doing about 2 of those a day like you've seen earlier today. It's got about 700 views. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're new and you haven't seen my station before, just go to my videos today. It's going rather slow here on YouTube. I'm not sure why. Come on, YouTube. But the XRP whale moves millions of tokens. You can go into that and read that as well, the entire article, but I'll be doing another one. Yesterday, we had the Ledger rockets up 400% in Q4, and then you could also see some updates about the Ripple versus SEC legal battles. Those are only 3 to 5 minute updates comparatively to my 20 minutes I do typically on a normal update that I switched my entire way I do it just a few short days ago. So hopefully you're appreciating and enjoying the expansion that I'm starting to do here. I do have something in the works for members of Tom's Army. I'm going to be doing an XRP newsletter. I know, believe that or not. And I'm working on it right now, and it's going to be daily. I just got to get the right formats down, and I'll release it to the members of Tom's Army on YouTube. So that'll be a nice perk to the members of Tom's Army. There'll be a daily XRP newsletter, and I can't wait for that. This is something I've been working on for quite some time, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. So you'll be able to come on in the morning, and when you look on there, it'll be on there for you. There'll be a newsletter, and it'll be over the stuff going on with XRP on each day at the relevance of each day as well. So I've been doing some demos with myself, and I think it's starting to come along very well. and I can't wait to do it. So just know, members of Tom's Army, I have something special for you so that you can get a lot of information in one place. So XRP community calls for action amid token sluggish performance. The XRP community is expressing growing concerns over the token sluggish performance in the market. Prominent XRP community member Mac recently voiced his unease regarding XRP's underperformance. In a direct call to action aimed a key figure within the Ripple ecosystem, including Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple CTO David Schwartz, Mac emphasized the urgent need for decisive steps to address the situation. He highlighted the growing restlessness and frustration among XRP holders, citing the token's lethargic growth in terms of price. As a primary concern, Mac's message underscores the community's call for concrete actions to improve XRP's performance and address the concerns of its holders. The analysis of XRP's performance. XRP has experienced significant price fluctuations, with its value dropping from a high of 93 cents to its current trading price of 52.15 cents. This decline reflects the challenge facing the cryptocurrency market, including broader market downturns and ongoing legal battle faced by Ripple. Several factors contribute to XRP's underperformance. The broader market down, and this is something you should be embracing. You should be embracing the fact that we've had such a downturn. And what do we always say? When we have a big move up, we want to have that 50% or more. It's usually about 50 to 60% consolidation so that you can build the pressure up for that next big move. If you just build up off of your big explosive move, you're done. You run out of gas. You've got to layer up at each position. XRP's done a fantastic job of layering up. It's just a matter of, is this the right spot? Is today the right spot where we think it's going to bounce up? And is today the right spot for somebody who hasn't bought XRP to buy? That's what we're trying to establish. Any time where it's at the 50-cent line is a good time to buy XRP if you haven't bought. Make no mistake about that point. Just because I'm not buying it today doesn't mean you shouldn't. I already own it at 34.6, but if I didn't own it today and I was looking at what I'm looking at, I would probably buy some now at 50-cent area and then buy it every 20% down to fill my stack. It's 2 for 1 right now. Exactly, JW. It's 2 for 1. Back in 2021 when XRP was $1.66, it was not even 1 for 1. It was like 0.6 for 1. So please don't miss something that hasn't happened, that might happen but doesn't happen. You know, you have to delegate it to the fact. 28 cents prosperity fund, only you can answer that for yourself. What about it? I see no significance one way or the other. If you're looking for that level, I mean, if you have the audacity and the tenacity and you know it's going there, well, by all means, you know, you got to make an educated, informed decision. So we'll see what happens. But like I've been showing, we're on a 5-year consolidation. If we continue and that stays true, you won't see that price. 38 cents is your floor now. By holding that in late 22, that was our chance, and early 23 to come down for those layers. Now there's still a chance, but that was your biggest chance. Now, if the crypto market is going to push up when a lot thought it was going to push down, that would be a missed opportunity at 28 when we were there before. So yeah, we came there at 28 before. So you did get that chance once. Somebody said 25. We didn't quite get there. We got to like 28 and change. So, can it get there? Sure it can. Sure it can. But will it? And if you're not in, are you willing to miss out on an opportunity if it doesn't work out? Or do you have a plan? Because I heard a lot of people crying wolf at $1.66 that are in this very audience that are still saying they're waiting for 25 cents now when they kicked and moaned that said that it could never come under $1, let alone be at 50 cents. And now they're afraid to buy it. You know, so there's a lot of factors going on. Don't be afraid to make a decision. That's the bottom line. Have a plan in place, though. If you're afraid and you're like, I don't know about this position, buy 20%. If you can't live without it, 20%. And every 20% down, there's your baseline. And hopefully you made a good decision. But remember, the most important thing is don't blame anybody else. When we do something in life, we've got to account for our actions. Like I accounted for my own actions. I thought some people said that I'm crazy. I thought the show was getting a little boring. There's nothing wrong with that. I watch all my feed. I thought it was getting a little stale. So I made some changes this week. I took it upon myself to have a positive review, even though it was a negative performance review in my own mind. I made a positive resolution to make better content and to be more available and to do a more detailed presentation. That was me being honest with myself. That's my own personal critique. So when we're doing our own portfolios, we have to be honest with ourselves. If we make a bad trade or if we make a bad decision, we can't just say, "Oh, that influencer or that guy on TV or that damn Jim Cramer, I told you that guy's an idiot." You can't blame all these people. You've got to understand how you missed out. And then that moment is going to be how you can adapt the next time you see it. Just like if you miss out on a pattern or you miss out on a buy or a sell, don't blame somebody else. Just say, "This is where I missed it, and now the next time around, I'm going to nail it." JM, thank you for being in Tom's Army for month 1. It makes my heart warm to see new members in month 1 in Tom's Army. It means the message is getting across. And I know you're in month 1 because you've got the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Oh, yes, that's my face superimposed. A girl that I seen me on social media some years ago made that for me, Amber. So if you're out there in the abyss, thank you so much, as that's a huge dedication to her for making my first ever emoji badge for me. So that was awesome indeed. So I think you're doing a great job. Thank you, The Great Falling Away. I greatly appreciate that. I really do. It's not you, it's the markets. They're manipulated, so what's the point of tuning in daily? That's only you can answer that, Jay. I think by tuning in every day, you gain a more direct understanding of the flow of the market. Not just because it's going up or down, but you can start to identify the manipulation while it's happening, or even before it happens. You can start to identify levels that if it breaks through certain points or beneath certain points, like the Lewis lines, that's how you can start to identify when the manipulation is going to be stronger. Or like we seen back a few months ago when we had the artificial run up, we said that the technicals are not suggesting this, so this is a manipulated push up, and it turned out there was a fake ETF approval, and it came right down to our technical target. Those are some reasons from a technical aspect why you should watch, because you'll have a more direct understanding of what's going on from a minute level on the technicals. From this doesn't represent a proper structure, this isn't the proper volume coming into for a continuation, this is not a proper candle formation for us to have a move down, even though it looks like we should, it's going to go up because of the setup, or maybe we don't have the volume to support the movement up or the movement down. These are the reasons why. Now, from a news perspective, you should tune in because maybe you didn't know yesterday that the XRP ledger in Q4 was up 400% with activity. Maybe you didn't know that the Ripple report came out yesterday, or that you're going to get something, or that a piece of news that you haven't seen or that you haven't heard, or maybe you didn't know about the AMM and you tuned in and you've seen that was passed finally after years of not being able to do it, and how they had 20 nodes that were set up. And if you don't know what the AMM, maybe that's the reason you should have tuned in. Or maybe if you don't know what the Ripple consensus or the like RippleNet and all this stuff is, the RPCA, and just the liquidity pools and ledger and all the stuff that goes into XRP and Ripple. Or maybe you don't know what's going on with the lawsuit, the fact that they got an extension from February 14th to the 20th because they needed more time, because they're just asking for too much, the SEC, according to Ripple, and too much information from 21 to 23 on institutional investors. Maybe you want to know what's going on in the ebb and flows so that you know whether or not you should even invest in this asset. Those are some reasons why you should tune in every day, even though you can't tell with manipulation. What's manipulation going to tell you? It can't tell you the price to buy. It can't tell you the price to sell. So if you're going to be in the market, you might as well understand the market the best you can. Don't let a silly little thing like manipulation keep you away. If I relied on manipulation, I wouldn't come here every day. YouTube manipulates my channel every day by shadow banning me. If you let manipulation stop you, you're never going to get ahead in what you're trying to succeed in. Remember that. XRP has experienced significant price fluctuations, with its value dropping from a high of 93 cents as we take an evaluation and the analysis of XRP's performance here recently. dropping from a high of 93 cents to its current trading price of 52.15 cents. This decline reflects the challenges facing the cryptocurrency markets. If you're playing the king game like some of us are, make the decision. Anything sub $1 could be life-changing. Dollar cost average if you can go all in, folks. There you go. Play the long game. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's a good way to put it as well. So if you're playing the long game, you're going to want to be on point day after day. So several factors contribute to XRP's underperformance. The broader market downturns have impacted investor sentiment and contributed to a decline in demand for cryptocurrencies, including XRP. Additionally, Ripple's legal challenges, including its ongoing lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, have created uncertainty surrounding the future of the company and its associated token. Broadly, sentiment within the XRP community is mixed, reflecting a range of perspectives on the token's current situation. While some remain optimistic about the long-term potential of XRP and its underlying technology, others are more cautious, expressing skepticism about the token's ability to recover from its current downturn. Despite the challenges facing XRP, there's optimism for the future. Community-driven initiatives are underway to address concerns and foster positive change within the Ripple ecosystem. And now, let me ask you one other thing. If they don't want you to see some of the news, this is the reason I don't use TikTok a lot. This happens to me almost every other day. And when I talk about shadow banning, I can show you a perfect example just on even another site like TikTok. When I go on TikTok, I posted this today. It's embarrassing. Did they put it back on now or no? I had a strike. Oh, they put it back on now. I appealed it. Your video, they restored my video. So they said, they gave me a strike because that video they said, when it was out, they said it was frauds and scams. Frauds and scams. But now it's going to keep the video from going through. But they said this. They were stopping because of frauds and scams. And now it just went back on. But I released it 5 hours ago. Now people are finally able to see it. They said because of frauds and scams, they were taking it down. It's no different than XRP. There's days when I have to release a video and keep releasing it because it won't put it up there for stupid, silly little reasons. I just don't talk about it. So if you let somebody else or the manipulation or the powers that be get you down, I mean, there's no reason to even start trading assets. So anyhow, guys, that's it. That's what I got, ladies and gentlemen. If you do appreciate my work and you stayed until the end, if you'd like to help the future of the show, I would love to see more members of Tom's Army. That helps me dictate how good of a job I'm doing. And it also allows me to continue to do this. If you don't want to do it that way, you can always send a YouTube super chat. No donations tonight, but there was a lot of donations and likes. Shares, I'm sure, conversation, and then I seen some new members in Tom's Army from this month as well, so that's always good to see. So at least once a month, consider, paying it forward to the show and, consider it something for time served. So yeah, exactly, Sean. It's been very hard for me on YouTube with the algorithm, but we're fighting through it. We've gotten over 20,000 subscribers somehow, some way. We have a strong community, so at that, we can fight it together. Have a blessed evening, everybody, and consider everything I've said.